Alright, we're back with the 2001 Ford Escape 2-liter engine. This time we're going to be talking about the PCV hose here and the PCV valve. Now this here car, Focus and all, has a big problem, and this here is the PCV hose. This here connects up to the intake on the metal pipe there. It's going down to the PCV valve. This end up here, this is one where the problem area is going to be at. As you can see right here, this hose is pretty well collapsed, and then of course when you start the engine, pull the vacuum, then this even closes up more. So you can see how flat that is, where it should be round. Okay? Now I couldn't film this here because, you know, as far as removal and installation, because it's in very tight quarters, but I'm going to hit the highlights so you can see what's involved here. Alright, so this here is going back to the intake manifold. It's on a plastic port, so you have to be careful with that. You don't want to sit there and break that port off, okay? Now you will find that there is a spring clamp here that's on this. Now this here, unless you're aware of how this thing comes apart, this is where I'm going to show you how this works. So you can see it, okay? And what you can do is you can take a screwdriver, you can wedge it in here, and what you want to do is just pull straight up. So let me show you how this thing will release. Okay, so that will pop loose, and then you can slide this here hose off of the back on the intake port. Okay, and I'll show you that. Now what I did, this thing is very difficult to get a tool down in there to compress this because it's in tight quarters. So what I opted to do is just put a spring clamp on there, a hose clamp. You know, it's got a screw in it. I'll show you that when we go over this here. Okay, part number for that hose is, this is a Motorcraft number here. That's the hose number for it. And also while I was in there, I went ahead and I changed the PCV valve. It was pretty rusty, may have been working, but while I was there I went ahead and took care of it. So I replaced that also. Part number for that, in case you're interested, is that one there. Okay, now let me go over the car and I'll show you where all this stuff is located. Okay, we're on the back of the engine now. This is where the intake, the hose is coming to. This is that hose clamp that I told you that I replaced. This is where you're going to find that spring hose clamp. So this is where it starts at. Like I said, this here is connected up to a plastic port. Be careful that you don't break that port off. And this hose, let me show you how this thing is routed. It's going around on this side of the engine. Okay, and I'll give you about a shot of it. This is the hose right here. You see it's got this here, looks like aluminum foil type insulation on it, kind of protect it from the heat. Now we're looking at the other end of this here hose. Again, now this is pretty well snuggled down in there, but you can still get to it. So there's that metal tube, and there's the end of this here rubber hose. Okay, so it just slides onto this here metal tube. Not too hard to get down in there, but it is a little tight, but still manageable. Now let's go over where the location of the PCV valve is located. Now to give you some perspective here where we're at. There's a battery. Let me zoom out a little bit. Here's the top radiator hose, and you're going to go way down in this area right here. So let me see if I can get you a shot of where this here PCV valve is located, which has an elbow, rubber elbow that's stuck up on top of it. Okay, if you look right up in there, right there, you can see that rubber elbow that I was talking about. This end up here is going up onto that this here metal line that we saw earlier that I pointed out. Now the PCV valve is on the other end of this here elbow, and it'll slide down into this here grommet that's located inside the oil and oil vapor separator. Now I'm going to tell you that this is the hardest part of this job. Try to get your hand down in there because everything is in the way to get to it. So what I found out was the easiest thing to do was I just took this here upper radiator hose off, took the clamp, slid it back, and I just lifted up the hose so I wouldn't lose a lot of coolant, and it's still a bear to get down in there. So anyway, there you go. Hopefully that'll help some guys out there that has a car similar to this one here. Alright, you guys take care.